Hello board game brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode where I'll be letting you know of Kickstarters launching this week. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking it out. I do this every week, and this is without a doubt the best place to get all the info you need for upcoming campaigns. Unless of course you want to see further into the future, then I'd recommend checking out our really awesome Discord, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, or you can check out Board Game Co's channel because Alex does a video at the end of every month going over some of the Kickstarters launching over the next 30 days. So definitely check out his channel if you haven't already, and with that said, let's check out the Kickstarters. And the first campaign we have launches on May 10th, and it's called Micro Dojo, and this plays 2 players and takes about 10 to 30 minutes to play. And Micro Dojo is a travel-sized tactical Euro game where players take control of a ninja, a samurai, a sumo, and a geisha. And each player is going to take turns moving one of these characters in order to generate resources, develop the town, or score points by achieving the shogun's tasks. Players are going to choose one of these to move to an adjacent space, but they won't be able to move either the one that they move last or the one that their opponent moved last. Whenever you move one of these characters, you're going to be able to take an action based on the tile that that character moves to. Players are going to be able to trigger different scoring objectives, but you're going to want to time these appropriately because you only want to trigger them when they benefit you. A nice thing about this campaign is that the game is already ready to ship, so the first 500 copies will be shipped out within 2 to 4 weeks after the campaign ends. A copy of this game is only €5 and it also fits into an envelope, so I think this is probably going to be one of the most affordable games that you'll ever see on Kickstarter. And the next few games we have are launching on May 11th, and the first one we have is called Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. And this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 90 to 120 minutes to play. And this one's going to be our Discord pick of the week. And this is an action selection civilization building game where on your turn you're going to be performing 1 out of 7 actions. Players are going to be using their actions to gain new abilities, grow their military, increase their population, raise money, and expand their civilization. Players are going to be gaining different cards throughout the game, and they're going to be collecting symbols across these cards that represent the increase of 9 different stats of their civilization, unlocking new technologies and scoring potential. This concept kind of reminds me a little bit of how the symbols are used on the Terraforming Mars cards, although I'm sure this game plays quite a bit differently. Players are also going to be competing to become specialized in 1 or more of these different symbols, and I think that just means getting the most of those symbols in comparison to the other players, and that's going to grant you some additional victory points. As the game goes on and your civilization grows, scoring cards are going to be revealed, and each time a scoring card is revealed, players are going to score different regions of the map based on who dominates that region with their cities and military units. After the 3rd scoring card is revealed, there's only 1 more turn, and then the game ends. Then players are going to be scoring for their cities and their towns, their wonders, projects, golden ages, and for all the cards that they score for your unique civilization components. I took a quick look through the threads on BGG for this one, and there's going to be a Tabletopia version of this game released, so if you're interested in trying this game, that will be a really good option for you. It also looked like there were quite a few other people comparing this game to Terraforming Mars, so I think you can expect that same complexity that you would expect from Terraforming Mars with this game. Also on the 11th, we have Vengeance, Roll and Fight, and this plays 1 to 8 players and takes about 30 minutes to play. And in this game, players are attempting to infiltrate their way into a gang den, carve their way through its rooms, and kill that final boss. The game is split into 3 parts: the planning, the fighting, and the montage phase. During the planning phase, players have 45 seconds to roll and re-roll 4 dice, attempting to roll values to match an ability that they want to trigger in the upcoming fight phase. Once you match an ability, you gain 4 more dice from the shared pool, and this all happens in real time, so you're going to want to move quickly here to get as many dice and abilities locked in before your opposing players. Once that dice pool is empty, players enter the fighting phase, and this is where they move their character through rooms full of enemies, crossing them out by executing the abilities that they prepared in the previous phase. And then finally, players are going to be healing and upgrading their characters with new abilities and items during the montage phase. This game is going to be offered in 2 standalone boxes, Episode 1 and Episode 2. These are going to be using the same rule set, but you're going to have different heroes, dens, bosses, abilities, and items. Each episode allows up to 4 players, but combining the 2 together allows for up to 8 players, and content in both episodes can be swapped out as you choose. And the next campaign, also launching on the 11th, is called Hoplomachus Victorum, and this is a solo game, and it doesn't have a length of time here to play, but I took a look at some of the other games released in the series, and they seem to take about 30 minutes to play. And in this game, you're going to be playing as a gladiator in a world where the people have angered Pluto, the god of the underworld. Pluto's going to be unleashing his destruction across the Earth unless the strongest champions can accomplish a series of tasks of grueling combat. And this one's going to be my pick of the week, but I don't have too much info on this one, so take this with a grain of salt. But this is from the same publisher and designers that brought you games like Too Many Bones and Cloudspire. And this is a solo game that's also going to be offering a campaign mode. And campaign games are really well suited for solo play because the only person that you can really guarantee that's going to come back for repeated sessions is yourself. And even that's kind of a stretch sometimes. But this is a standalone game in an established series, and the thing that I'm really excited about is that they're actually going to be releasing a redesigned, streamlined version of the original sets, but with all the best parts of the core game and the expansions put into one box. So this version of the game is going to be sort of like a Dragon Ball Z Kai version of the series. And whenever I design a game, I'm always trying to maximize the fun and cutting out anything else that gets in the way of that. So taking a series of games and then cutting out all the filler seems like a really good recipe for that. You'll definitely want to see more of this game before you make any decisions, but if it sounds interesting to you, sign up to be notified of launch on their website. Also on the 11th, we have Keystone North America, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 40 to 90 minutes to play. And in this game, players are taking on the role of biologists trying to build an interconnected ecosystem through tile placement. This game offers multiple ways to play. You can go head-to-head against your friends, but there's also a solo and cooperative campaign narrative adventure mode that will take you on a fully illustrated journey across North America. And in this campaign, you're going to be solving different puzzles, learning about different animals, and exploring the ecosystems that make up North America. And this guy here explores my recycling bin every night. And the next campaign we have is The Market, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 5 to 10 minutes to play. And in The Market, players are citizens in a desperate time. Players start the game with 3 temporary resource cards that are each used to track different resources throughout the game. These cards can be rotated one way or another in order to increase or decrease the value to indicate how much of each resource a player currently holds from 0 to 3. On a player's turn, 1 of 3 actions can be taken. You can either gain 2 resources of any type, or you can flip up to 2 cards from the main deck and then optionally buy 1 if you have the available resources. Cards that aren't purchased remain face up and can be purchased by either player in upcoming rounds. And the third possible action is to purchase one of these face up cards. And purchase cards work a little bit differently than your starting cards. Your starting cards track the temporary resources that are spent when buying cards, indicated by rotating the card, but purchase cards contain permanent resources that discount the price of all purchases made throughout the game moving forward. Permanent cards also grant players with points known as Hope, and the first player to reach 10 of these points wins the game. And next, also on the 11th, we have Castle Panic Deluxe Collection, and this is a family-weight cooperative tower defense game where players will be using cards to defeat hordes of monsters attempting to attack their castle. This deluxe version includes plastic miniatures and castle pieces for the core game, as well as brand new artwork, wooden components, and a new expansion that adds quests to the game, as well as the 3 existing expansions. On a player's turn, they're going to draw up to a full hand of cards, and then they can discard a card as well as trade cards with other players to maximize the potential of their current turn. The board displays a circle around the castle broken into 3 different colored segments with 5 rings layered on top. The cards that players are going to play are going to have a color and a ring name labeled on them, indicating the area that the card can damage. So in order to successfully attack a monster, your card is going to have to specify both the ring and the colored region that that monster is in. Special cards can also be used to cause more damage, and resource cards can be used to rebuild the castle in areas where the monsters got too close. Once the player has played all the cards that they can, all the monsters move 1 ring closer and 2 more monsters are added to the board, and the next player takes their turn. Players win the game once all monsters are defeated, or they lose the game once all their towers are destroyed. The game can be played solo, cooperatively, 1 versus many, or semi-cooperatively, where players are trying to claim the most monsters for themselves. And the next campaign we have is the Altirvun Core Set, which is going to be for a collection of STL files, which you can use to 3D print these models for yourself at home. And if you do have a 3D printer, I definitely recommend checking out this campaign because they're going to be providing a really cool model completely free that you can download and try for yourself. Since this campaign's for STL files, you won't have to pay or wait for shipping, and everything will be digitally fulfilled. All these models are provided with the printing supports in place, and the campaign will be offering a set of infantry, field guns, and tanks scaled appropriately. A ton of extra sculpts will also be unlocked through the stretch goals. And the last game on the 11th is Catharsis, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 45 to 120 minutes to play. And Catharsis is a story-driven board game that uses card play and dice rolling to progress the game. game. The game can be played solo or cooperatively, and players will be part of an elite group of heroes fighting against villains consumed by darkness. Battles aren't so simple as attack and defense, as villains can also use traps and other monsters to bring down the team's morale. Players win the game if they defeat the final boss, but they lose if their morale is ever brought down to 0. All the characters and bosses all have their own unique set of cards, which makes them all play very differently, and the bosses also have different mechanisms to challenge the players. A shared board is used to track the morale of the team of heroes, and it acts as life points, but can also be spent to refresh powerful special abilities, which comes with a cost because every time 4 morale is used up, a morale card is drawn, which will always have a negative effect on your efforts. And players will be fighting their way through a boss deck, which includes villains, encounters, events, and traps, with the final boss at the very end of the deck. And on the 13th, we have ZODIAC Mystic Signs from scale 75. And this is going to offer both miniatures and a set of paints. And this line of paints advertises that only 1 coat of paint is required. And I believe the paints act similar to the contrast paints that you'd find with Games Workshop. Also on the 13th, we have Railways of Australia, and this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 60 to 120 minutes to play. And this is a railway expansion game, but it centers itself around a real problem that happened during the railway expansion across Australia, and that's that different gauges of rails were used as they were developing their railways. Because each train is designed for a specific gauge of rail, this meant that the trains could not share the rails, so this forced the use of train stations in order to allow passengers to switch from one gauge of rail to the other, depending on where they're trying to go. This game recreates that dilemma on a large-scale map, allowing for a little bit of a different spice for your typical train game. So I get the occasional comment that I missed a game when the game was actually pushed further into the future, and there are a few games this week that I thought were going to be launching but got pushed back, so I just want to take a second here and go over a few of those. So the first one is Death Roads All-Stars, which is actually going to be launching in July. And then we had the expansion to the Paris game, which is going to be launching on May 24th. And then we have Zorro the Dice game, which is now going to be launching on June 15th. And that's all we got this week, but don't leave yet because we got a few awesome giveaways to announce, and all you have to do to enter those is leave a comment down below. But first I want to mention our sponsors, Kickstartergames.com, where you can go to find a wide selection of games, and you can save a ton of money because you can use the coupon code SHELFCLUTTER at checkout and get 15% off your entire cart. So if you have a game on your wish list that you've been waiting to get at a great price, check out Kickstartergames.com because they probably have it, and you can save a ton of money with that coupon code. Kickstartergames.com also does a giveaway at the end of every month, and all you have to do to enter that giveaway is sign up to their newsletter and you'll get automatically entered in all the upcoming giveaways. So if you like free games, definitely sign up to their newsletter as well. And speaking of free games, we have 3 giveaways on the channel, and the first one is going to be for Ice. And Ice is a really good looking game that was both my pick of the week and the Discord pick of the week last week. And in this game, players are archaeologists, and they're going to be digging through 5 layers of tiles in this very special board, using this unique board to gather different tiles for extra actions and abilities and scoring opportunities. Each player has their own set of abilities, and players are going to be controlling their main archaeologist, but players will be sharing the smaller archaeologist meeples that they can use to their advantage by swooping in and taking them from the other players. And this giveaway is going to be for the Explorer Pledge, which comes with the core game and all unlocked stretch goals. And to enter this giveaway, just leave a comment down below with the hashtag ICE and let us know of an activity you enjoy that involves ice in one way or another. For me, I'm not very good at skating or ice hockey, which is a bit of a shame considering I'm Canadian, so I'm going to stick with something I do know and say whiskey. And the next giveaway we have is for Aldabas, the Doors of Cartagena. And this is a puzzly tableau builder where players are going to be competing to fill their neighborhood with the most influential citizens. On a player's turn, they can take 2 coins from the supply, or they can buy 1 door card, or they can place a door card in their 4x3 tableau following the placement rules and gaining special placement abilities based on the cards that they've played. Players are going to be tallying up their points at the end of the game based on their set collection and the amount of coins they have in their supply. And this giveaway is going to be for a deluxe Kickstarter version of the game. And to enter this giveaway, just leave a comment down below with the hashtag DOOR and let us know of something you know about Colombia. This game is influenced by Colombian culture, and I actually don't know too much about Colombia other than I really like their traditional music. And the last giveaway we have is for Name, Place, Animal, Thing. And this is a quick to set up deduction card game, and the game features cards from 4 different categories, and you've probably guessed it, those categories are going to be name, place, animal, and thing. And to start the game, cards are going to be separated into those different categories, and then 1 card from each category is drawn, placed into a special pouch for nobody to see. The remaining cards get distributed to all players, and players are going to be using a pen and pencil as well as some special actions in order to try and deduce which cards were removed from the game. And this giveaway is going to be for the 1 game box pledge, and to enter this giveaway, just leave a comment down below with the hashtag thing, and let me know of the first name, place, animal, or thing to enter your head right now. No judgment here. And now let's draw the winner for last week's giveaway, which was for a pledge for Cellulose. And I use this fancy application here to draw a winner. All these extra names down here are bonus entries for my Patreon subscribers. If you like this sort of content and you want to help support the channel, definitely check that out. I'll have a link in the description below. But with that said, let's grab the comments and draw a winner. And the winner is Marcus W. And this is one of our patrons. So Marcus, I'll reach out to you. Congratulations on the win. And always remember that science rules. And one thing I always try to do is respond to, or at least read, all my comments, because I really do appreciate all the views and I do not take any of this for granted. That being said, last week was really busy. Many of you may not know this, but I actually run my own company. It's great that work has been so busy, but I also have a finite amount of time and I do need to sleep sometimes, even though I don't always act that way. So I've fallen a little bit behind on my comments for last week, so sorry for the late reply, but I'm going to take a look at all of them this weekend and get all caught up. Good luck in all the contests, and thanks for joining in on the fun. Until next time, keep that shelf cluttered and the table full.